Okay, very good morning to all present. I, Ranjan Kumar, on behalf of Department of Education, School of Open Learning and the whole event team, welcome you all to another dialogue under the Dialogue Series on Education 2021. Commencing this dialogue series, first of all, I would like to invite our principal sir, Professor U.S. Pandey sir, for the welcome address. I must acknowledge that the fact that there is a saying that leadership is about bringing of service to others, not being served by others. Be a mentor, not a boss. He is always a mentor and act as a guide for us and to serve more effectively to this institution. We are lucky to have such a leaders. Uh, we are serving under his leadership, and now I thank you, sir, providing us ample opportunity to grow. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ranjanji. It's really a great pleasure to invite the Professor Raut here, delivering a lecture regarding cognitive development, which is really playing a very important role, especially in the area of education. Although psychologically also it is now very important into the entire academic fraternity. Basically, the topic is very much relevant to our students. So I'm really thankful to our Department of Education in this series of dialogue, the lecture which will definitely provide a great opportunity of learning to our students as well as all those who are joining. So thank you once again, Professor Rao, and I really welcome here this Sanjay ji also, Ranjan Saab also, just to organizing this kind of activity. So this is another series which he has organized. Definitely all these will give a great learning to our students of the School of Open Learning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for joining for a short moment of time, because we know how much busy he is. He is dealing with all the works, because we have more than 6 lakh students in our institution, and even during COVID-19, he is coming to the institutions regularly and working. So he is getting praise for that also, but it's quite hard to manage during that period. But he is managing all the events. So congratulations, sir, and thank you for all the words you have. It means a lot. So regarding today's topic, that yes, it's quite true that when it comes to educational psychology and human development process, the Piaget is one of the prominent educational psychologists, and his theories and his contribution is much relevant in the realm of psychology. So I thought of to uh, make a dialogue under this. And regarding the rationale behind this dialogue series is like, there are so many topics that the education is, we all know, is a multidisciplinary. So it has a relationship with philosophy, sociology, psychology, economics, history. So it's quite hard to to catch everything in a single seminar or webinar kind of thing. So we decided to make a dialogue series, and if possible, organize every month at least one dialogue series. As a result, student will also get benefited out of it. So basically, the key intention of today's dialogue is to explore several key points, such as to understand the concept of cognitive development, to understand the basic construct of Piaget theory like assimilation, accommodation, equilibrium, and the various stages of cognitive development, and to think critically about the relevance and implications of Piaget cognitive theory development. So we hope that all these points will be discussed intensively by our speaker of today, Dr. Sarath Raut. So before moving on to the speaker, I just wish to provide just a little bio sketch about him. That Dr. Sarath Raut presently working an assistant professor in Department of Education, Revensa University, Cuttack. He has around 17 years of teaching and 12 years of research experience, and serving the Department of Education, Revensa University since 2010. His area of specialization includes school education, higher education, teacher education, ICT, educational psychology, assessment, and evaluation. He has authored numerous articles and presented research paper in various national and international conferences. Sir has also in the advisory and editorial board of many national and international journal of report. He has 3 books to his credit. Along with that, he has written many chapters and modules for IGNO and NIOS. He has also guided 14 MPhil and 8 PhD scholars. Dr. Raut also led various major and minor research projects funded by UGC, ICSSR, NCRT, and one of his recently completed major research project funded by ERIC NCRTH functioning of SMDC in planning, management, and supervision of secondary school activities in tribal areas of Odisha under Ramsar. Sir works with the academic vision of innovation and good practices in teaching is highly dedicated for the quality enhancement and assurance in the field of higher education. We all are really grateful to him to get his appointment and as a speaker for today's event. So over to you, sir. But before starting and over to the speaker, I just wish to get the permission of our principal, sir, that we should proceed for the event.
Please proceed.
Okay, the permission has been granted from principal, sir. So over to Dr. Raut, sir. Raut, sir, please.
Thank you. A very good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to extend my thanks, and I'm very privileged to get an opportunity. I would definitely give credit to the principals and coordinator of this program for giving me an opportunity for delivering in these sessions. I think the coordinator is very resourceful and he has selected a topic very timely, because nowadays parents are in problematic situation because students are not going to schools and they are staying with the parents, and many a times they create disturbances for the parents. So this topic is very relevant, and I hope in your continuous series this will go very smoothly. Am I audible, Ranjan sir? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So before going to demonstrate my present my slide, I would like to say a few lines. Before that, the history of cognitive development. You know, after the work of your Thorndike on trial and error learning, then IP Pavlov in classical conditioning, then BF Skinner's. So all these behavioristic has established that learning is nothing but some sort of a response to a stimulus. Somehow they have concluded that learning is because of drill and practice, and there is no such mind, understanding, reasoning. All these are vague. So, but the person Kohler and Kopka, by conducting his experiment on chimpanzee, that is insightful learning theory, he has ignited that besides the drill and practice, they have not rejected the idea of behaviorism that learning is just a stimulus bound. Learning is a bond of stimulus response bond. But what they said, besides that, there is a requirement of what? There is something which works, that is mind, because of transfer of learning. So after Kohler and Kopka 19वीं सदी शुरू होते होते बहुत सारे लोग ये काम करना शुरू कर दिया कि इंटेलिजेंस है क्या, या कॉग्निशन है क्या, अंडरस्टैंडिंग कैसे होता है, उसका नेचर क्या है, उसका स्टेजेस क्या है. तो आउट ऑफ देम one of the, there are many cognitive theories given by what your Gane, Bloom, Brunner, you can say Asubel and Abraham Maslow. Many people has worked for understanding what is working besides the stimulus bond response, stimulus bond connections. So out of them, one of the scholar, that is Jean Piaget, he has given a revolutionary theory, a influential theory, a comprehensive theory to understand the cognitions. So I will go to present my slide. Mr. Ranjan will confirm me whether it is visible or not. So
yes, sir, it's visible, sir. It's quite visible,
yeah.
But yeah, it's on slide. Yes,
voice
sir.
is audible?
Yes, sir. Both voice and your PPT is quite visible.
Okay. So I will go to the first slide. Before going to describe about Piaget's systematic development, then I will just explain here the few concepts. The Piaget, after describing his theory, no doubt Piaget has conducted a experiment. not exactly experiment. That is a theory based on observing his own children. That was a case study, and that time it was described as a descriptive research. But after the development literature, it was designated as a reclaimed as a grounded theory. But later on, many academicians, psychologists conducted research, drawn hypotheses, conducted experiments, and to confirm and disconfirm the assumptions and hypotheses of the Piaget. So after the Piaget developing the theory, he concluded this concept. The term cognition is derived from the Latin word that is cognitio, which means to know, to recognize, to conceptualize. It is that he has defined. After observing his own children, when he has given the cognitive theory to the academy of the world, he defined the cognition is that cognition is a mental action or a process of acquiring and understanding through thought, experience, and sense. So that when we say the cognition, it is some sort of what reasoning, understanding, your articulations, and then again he has defined what is the scope of cognitive development. What is cognitive development? It's periphery. Cognitive development is the emergence of ability to think and understand. As I said earlier, the acquisition of the ability to think, reason, and problem solving. It is the process by which people's thinking changes across the lifespan. Piaget studied cognitive development by observing his own children in particular to examine how thought process changes as they become older and older. Right. So the second slide says, what is the scope of cognitions? When we say the cognitions, it is something that it is the reasoning ability, it is the understanding, it is problem solving ability, it is the ability to adapt with new situations. So many things. They say this is the scope of what cognitive development. Now question arises, how it happens, how it takes place. So the third slide says cognitive development occurs, how it occurs gradually, orderly, and changes by which mental process becomes more complex and sophisticated. The essential development of cognition is the establishment of a new schema. So I will discuss it in detail, the new schema. Then another, how we develop the schema by the process of adaptations, that is assimilation and accommodations. And these are just two sides of the same coin. That is, adaptation is a coin and assimilation and accommodations are the two sides. Another works, that is equilibration, is the symbol of new stage of cognitive development. So this is the process. The third slide describes first one, what is cognition. Second one, what is the scope of cognitions. Third one, how it occurs. That cognitive development takes place gradually, systematically, and changes by which mental process become more complex and sophisticated. Now just have a brief idea about what Alfred Binet Jean Piaget, that he was born in the year 1896 in Switzerland and passed away in 1980. And he was the eldest son of his parents and received PhD from University of Neuchâtel in the year 1918. And this is his wife Valentine Chapney, and he had 3 children. One is male, another 2 is female. And so we have nothing to see. You see the pictures of his family, and then we will come to that points. When Jean Piaget associated with the Alfred Binet in IQ lab, at that time he supposed to go to the field for administrations of the intelligence scale, and he was given charge to translate English sentence to Farsi, your French language, right? When he went to field for collection of data, he found that why the children are answering differently, qualitatively differently to same questions. What is the why there is difference in perceptions of the children's belonging to different age groups. जैसे जैसे उनका उम्र बढ़ता है कम होता है, सेम क्वेश्चन के लिए दो आंसर कैसे होता है, अलग आंसर क्यों होता है. So originally he was oriented in biology, later on philosophy. Then he claimed himself as a genetic epistemologist. I am leaving this point that I will request to the coordinator. He will ask me later why he is a genetic epistemologist. I will explain it. Piaget's theory is based on the idea that developing child builds cognitive structures that we will discuss. And he has written one short story on albino Paro at the age of 11. This is some of his brief sketch of biography, and I will not touch it. Let us come. Just a minute. Before going to discuss his stages of development, cognitive stages of cognitive development, let us. He has concluded 4 key concepts. First one is schema. What is schema? Schema are mental or cognitive structures which enables a person to adapt and to organize the environment. Schema are categories of knowledge that helps us to interpret, understand the world around us. Piaget called the schema the basic building block of intelligent behavior, a way of organizing. In next slide, I will show you what is exactly schema. I think you are observing here 2 pictures, 2 photographs. First one is you show the baby just suck his finger. So what Piaget concluded that all animal and human being, all organisms born at the time of birth, they have been endowed, they have been bestowed with some basic reflexes, right? It is not that only human being is endowed, born with basic reflexes. In fact, all organisms. So you see, at the birth, the schema of a baby is reflexive in nature, such as sucking, अपना अंगूठी suck करना, or grasping. The sucking reflex is a schema. The infant will suck on whatever is put in its mouth as a nipple or a finger. Just I will stay on these slides for a while. So Piaget ने ये conclude किया कि इंसान से लेकर सारे जितने हैं, सारे जैसे कि पैदा होते हैं, उनको ये जो ट्रांसफर होता है हेरिडिटरी इंटेलिजेंस, इसको कहते हैं, you know, already I have told you, genetic epistemologist, that genetics means biology, epistemology means knowledge. So all organisms at the time of birth, they are born with some homogeneous reflexes. As here the picture say, जितने बच्चे पैदा होते हैं, जैसे कि पैदा होते हैं उसके बाद उन्होंने अपना अंगूठियां सक करना शुरू कर देते हैं. और ये सिर्फ, this is not that only we found in case of human being. You know that even you observe the गाय भैंस चिड़िया सब अपना अपना जैसे पैदा होते हैं, अपना अपना जो बायोलॉजिकली जो इंटेलिजेंस उनको दिया गया है वो दिखाना शुरू कर देते हैं. जैसे हमारा ह्यूमन बीइंग के पास यही होता है कि वो जैसे पैदा होते हैं, जैसे बच्चे माँ के गर्भ से बाहर आ जाता है, उसके बाद अपना अंगूठिया सक करना शुरू कर देता है. ये अंगूठिया सक करना, जिसको पियाजे ने कहा कि ये है स्कीमा. दिस इज द स्कीमा, दिस इज द गिफ्ट, राइट? एंड दिस स्कीमा इज अदरवाइज नोन एज बेसिक रिफ्लेक्सेस, और पियाजे सेड दिस इज जेनेटिकली ट्रांसफर्ड इंटेलिजेंस, राइट? इसी को कहते हैं कि ये नहीं कि ये सिर्फ ह्यूमन बीइंग के साथ होता है, नहीं, ये सारे जितने एनिमल वर्ल्ड है सबके साथ यही होता है. सब जैसे कि गाय बछड़ा पैदा करता है तो बछड़ा खुद ही उठना शुरू हो जाता है, लेकिन ह्यूमन बीइंग नहीं कर पाता है क्योंकि उठना शुरू होना का जो प्रोसेस है उनको दिया गया है पहले से. सो दैट्स व्हाई Piaget said they started disseminating the homogeneous genetically transferred behavior. Then infant is the second slide pictures you are observing here. जैसे भगवान मानो या ना मानो, जो जैसे सोचना चाहते हैं सोच लो, लेकिन बच्चे जैसे पैदा होते हैं अपना अंगूठा शक करना शुरू कर देते हैं, वो उनका क्या है, कॉग्निटिव स्ट्रक्चर्स एंड जेनेटिकली ट्रांसफर। और जैसे निपुल बॉटल या मिल्क बॉटल या मदर अपना दूध पिलाना शुरू करने के लिए कोशिश करता, बच्चा ये नहीं पीता है कि उनका आदत पहले से है कि अपना अंगूठा शक करना, इसीलिए वो रोता है, उसके बाद दूध पिलाना शुरू हो जाता है, चाहे माँ या हम बॉटल में पिलाना शुरू कर देते हैं। लेकिन ये जो शक करने का जो आदत है उसका पहले से था, अपना अंगूठा शक करता था, अब उसका वो प्री एग्जिस्टिंग नॉलेज है। जैसे उनका मदर निपुल या बटल मिल्क बटल का निपुल देते हैं, वो शक करना शुरू कर देता है। तो इसलिए कहते हैं कि here baby is what assimilating the previous knowledge that he has the power of sucking, or she has the power of sucking, but that previous knowledge helps to assimilate when the mother or milk bottle is touched to his oral cavity, he or she starts sucking. That's why then the infant is unable to, the second stanza says, the infant is unable to differentiate because it has only a single sucking schema. Slowly, the infant learns to differentiate where milk producing objects are accepted while non-milk objects are rejected. At this time, the infant has two sucking schema, one for milk producing objects, one for non-milk producing objects. So you see that the schema, बच्चों का दुनिया यही स्कीमा से शुरू हो जाता है। जैसे जैसे वो आगे बढ़ते हैं, the simple schema become more complex, more systematic, more comprehensive, and critically important building block of conceptual development, and constantly in the process of being modified, वो धीरे 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 बदलता रहता है, and modified by ongoing experiences। जैसे जैसे उनको एक्सपोजर मिलता है, बहुत सारे ऑब्जेक्ट्स, एनिमल्स, प्योर ग्रुप्स, माँ बाप, और उनका जैसे उनके साथ उनका एक्सपोजर होता है, उनका एक्सपीरियंस धीरे धीरे बढ़ता है, और उसी हिसाब से उनका जो स्कीमा है, सिंपल स्कीमा, सकिंग स्कीमा, वो एक्सटेंड होते होते कॉम्प्लेक्स हो जाता है, और उसके साथ उनका इंटेलिजेंस डेवलपमेंट शुरू हो जाता है। जनरलाइज्ड आइडिया usually based on the experience or prior knowledge. That's why the schemata are constantly being revised and elaborated upon each time the child encounters new experiences. In doing this, children create their own unique understanding of the world, interpret their own experiences and knowledge, and subsequently use this knowledge to solve more complex problems. And in a neurological sense, the brain or mind is constantly working to build and rebuild itself as it makes, adopts, modifies new information, and enhances understanding. We will discuss it in detail. You see, the first point, I think you have understood, you have no problems in understanding what is schema. So what Piaget said, that all creatures across the globe, they are born with some basic homogeneous schema, and this schema is genetically transferred, and soon after birth they start disseminating that schema, and this basic schema helps to understand other things later on. So जैसे हमने बताया कि after schema the next process comes, the schema कैसे complex होता है, क्योंकि सिंपल स्कीमा था अपना अंगूठा शक करना, लेकिन उनको ये कैसे पता चला कि उंगलियां शक करने के बजाय और अपना मदद से दूध पीता है, और जो मिल्क बॉटल है उससे भी पीता है, क्योंकि उनका जो पहले शकिंग स्कीमा था वही उनको मदद करता है कि आगे उसको एक्सटेंड करने के लिए. सो हियर द सेकेंड की पॉइंट सेज दैट assimilations, instead of sucking his or her own fingers, the baby starts sucking bottle nipple, milk bottle nipple, or mother's nipple. So when sucking mother's or milk bottle, that means his or her previous sucking helps him to adjust with the new experience new environment. Here, giving the milk bottle is new to the baby. So what assimilation says, bending the environment to adjust with the previous existing cognitive structures. क्या होता है, पहले उनके पास जो previous cognitive structure था, to suck the finger. Now when you will provide him milk bottle, now what they will do, they will, you see assimilation say bending, converting the environment, changing the environment, molding the environment to fit in the previous cognitive structures, right? To the existing cognitive structures. What is the existing cognitive structure? Existing cognitive structure to suck, grasp. And now when you will provide them with what? The milk bottle, they will adjust. They will what? They will assimilate with the new experience to their old one. So you see, assimilation is an one of the part of what adaptations is using an existing schema to deal with a new object or situations. The process of taking in new information into our previously existing schema is known as assimilations. You see, and here you see two pictures. One is donkey, another one is zebra. A child sees a zebra for the first time and immediately call it a donkey. Thus, the child has assimilated into his schema that this animal is donkey. Why do you think this happened? The child seeing the object zebra shifted through his collection of schema until he found one that seemed appropriate. To the child, the object zebra has all the characteristics of donkey. That's why it fits in his donkey schema. So the child concludes that object is donkey, or the child has integrated the object zebra into his donkey. इसको और सिंप्लीफाई कर देते हैं कहने के लिए. मान लीजिए बच्चा देखा कि कोई अपने पास एनिमल खड़ा है, से पर डग. मां को पूछता है क्या है, ना डग है. बच्चा अपने आप सोचता है कि इनमें 4 पैर है इसलिए वो डॉग है. फिर जैसे उनके सामने आ जाता है बिल्ली और कोई गाय भैंस, सबको कहता है कि ये कुत्ता है, क्योंकि he tried or she tried to assimilate with the previous knowledge. Previous knowledge क्या है ना, जिन schema of the child is what? All animals having 4 legs are called dog. So cat has 4 legs, that's why cat is dog, right? But when he get older, you see, when he get older, when he comes to know there is difference between the dog and cat, zebra and donkey, you see, that is what the second process of the adaptations, that is accommodations. You see, in accommodation, as I told you, in assimilations, the child will mold the environment to fit into his or her previous schema. But in accommodations, the child will adjust with what? With the environmental stimuli, right? Adjust is here, the child changes his own schema, right? To understand the stimuli in the environment. You see, the new experience doesn't fit with the schema. The process of accommodation involves altering one's existing schema. क्योंकि जैसे पिछले एग्जाम्पल मैंने दिया था कि जैसे बच्चा बड़ा हो जाता है, अब देखता है नहीं, ये डॉग कैट डॉग नहीं हो सकता है, वो फिर क्या चेंज करता, he or she modifies the previous schema and adjust, right, accommodates the new schema that dog is dog, cat is cat. That means when she attained the ability of differentiating between dog and cat, then she or he modifies the previous existing schema that dog, cat, buffalo, cow, all are dog, right? So the baby who had assimilated the zebra as a donkey will eventually accommodate more information thus realize that different characteristics between zebra and donkey. The child will learn that donkey is not a donkey but a zebra, right? The fourth key concept, after this we will go to the stages of Piaget cognitive development. We have another 40 minutes, right? Ranjan sir, my audio is clear?
Yes, sir. We can hear audio.
The fourth key concept, that is equilibrations. Already we have so far discussed 3 ही concept हमने discussion किया. पहले schema, उसके बाद assimilation, उसके बाद accommodation. schema जैसे हम कहते हैं बच्चा जैसे ही पैदा होता है उसके साथ उनको ये सोच लो कुछ हेरिडिटरी ट्रांसपोर्ट होता है जिसको प्याजे कहते हैं जेनेटिकली ट्रांसपोर्ट इंटेलिजेंस. इसीलिए प्याजे को कहा जाता है ही इज द पैटेंट ऑफ जेनेटिक एपिस्टेमोलॉजिस्ट. नोबडी हैज गिवन दिस कंसेप्ट. उनसे पहले किसी ने भी नहीं कहा कि ये जेनेटिक एपिस्टेमोलॉजी क्या है, राइट? सो फोर्थ की कंसेप्ट अकॉर्डिंग टू क्या है प्याजे, दैट इज इक्विलिब्रेशंस, राइट? अब क्या आता है कि ये कंसेप्ट को हम थोड़ा और सिंप्लीफाई कर देते हैं कि जैसे बच्चा आदत में क्या है जो चीज आता है वो सब अपने मुंह में डाल देता है क्योंकि उनका पहले से जो बेसिक रिफ्लेक्शंस एट द टाइम ऑफ बर्थ, सकिंग एंड ग्रास्पिंग, माँ का दूध पिया या बटल से दूध पिया, वो उसको क्या किया, असिमुलेट किया. मान लीजिए माँ या भाई बहन कोई भी एक बड़ा चीज, मान लीजिए बॉल हाथ में पकड़ा देते हैं, उसको क्या होता है जैसे बॉल हाथ में पकड़ा देते हैं बच्चा उसको भी मुंह में डालने के लिए कोशिश करेगा क्योंकि बॉल का साइज इतना बड़ा है कि वो मुंह में एडजस्ट नहीं हो पाएगा. द चाइल्ड विल स्टार्ट क्राइंग, राइट? क्राइंग स्टार्ट बिकॉज ऑफ डिस्टर्बेंसेस इन द कॉग्निशंस. वो सोचता है कि ये मैं जो पहले से किया था वो तो सब ठीक था, अब क्या करूं, इसके साथ कैसे एडजस्ट करूं? तो इसको एडजस्ट करने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा चाइल्ड को, बच्चों को? नाउ दे ट्राई टू फिट द बॉल in his or her oral cavity and this process is known as assimilations, right? But when the ball will not be fitted in the oral cavity, then the child will start crying. So in the process of crying, child develops a ability. Instead of putting it in oral cavity, rather I should hold it. Now as I told you, accommodation के साथ क्या होता है, असिमुलेशन के साथ एनवायरनमेंट को हमारे हिसाब से हम परिवर्तन करते हैं, बच्चा अपने हिसाब से उसको मोल्ड करता है. लेकिन अकोमोडेशन में क्या होता है, बच्चा अपने आप को बदलता है एनवायरनमेंट के साथ एडजस्ट करने के लिए. सो द प्रोसेस व्हिच हेल्प्स द चाइल्ड टू ट्रांजिट फ्रॉम असिमुलेशन टू accommodations, that is known as equilibrations. Piaget believed that cognitive development did not progress at a steady rate. How it happens? Rather leaps and bounds gradually. Cognitive development overnight के साथ नहीं हो जाता, पैदाइशी सब कुछ हो जाएगा, वो धीरे धीरे आहिस्ते 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 बढ़ता रहता है. Equilibrium is occurs when a child's schema can deal with most new information through assimilations. As I told you, क्योंकि पहले मान लीजिए जो उनका बेसिक स्कीमा था सकिंग था बेसिक एट द टाइम, उसके बाद सकिंग मिल्क बॉटल, उसके बाद मिल्क बॉटल सकिंग करने के लिए उसको क्या करना पड़ा, उसको असिमुलेशन करना पड़ा. लेकिन अब जब बॉल उनके हाथ में हमने पकड़ा दिया, वो क्या करेगा, उसको अकोमोडेट करेगा, क्योंकि अगर ये बॉल को अपने मुंह में डालने के लिए कोशिश करेगा बॉल निकल जाएगा. इतना उनका मुंह इतना बड़ा नहीं कि बॉल को होल्ड कर पाएगा. तो उस टाइम बच्चा क्या करेगा, रोना शुरू कर देगा. रोते रोते बच्चे क्या करेगा, अपने आप को उसी हिसाब से ढाल लेता है. इंस्टेड ऑफ putting it in oral cavity, the child will try the ability, develops the ability to hold the ball and play with it, right? As the children progress through the stages of cognitive development, it is important to maintain a balance between applying previous knowledge and changing behavior to account for new knowledge. किताब में भी आपने पढ़ा होगा, ये बहुत बड़ा चीज है. प्याजे यही कंक्लूजन हाइपोथेसिस ड्रॉ कर लिया कि we learn new things in relation to our previous one. अगर हम एडिशन नहीं सीखेंगे तो सब्सट्रैक्शन नहीं कर पाएंगे, सब्सट्रैक्शन नहीं कर पाएंगे, मल्टीप्लिकेशन भी नहीं कर पाएंगे। एडिशन सब्सट्रैक्शन मल्टीप्लिकेशन नहीं होगा तो डिवीजन नहीं हो पाएगा। सो पियाजेट क्या कंक्लूजन ड्रा किया? न्यू लर्निंग टेक्स प्लेस इन रिलेशन टू अर्लियर वन। जब हम कुछ नया सीखते हैं वो किस बेसिस पे, किस आधार पे, जो हमारा पुराना ज्ञान है वो हमें मदद करता है, इसलिए हम सीखते हैं। कि मैं अचानक आपको पूछूंगा जाओ आप ये फ्लाइट चलाओ, उसको पायलट बन जाओ, नहीं कर पाओगे। आप कहेंगे कि जाओ आप हार्ट ऑपरेशन करोगे, नहीं कर पाओगे। क्योंकि या मैं कहूंगा जाओ आप ये मेडिकल कोर्स में ज्वाइन करो, जाएंगे बैठेंगे आ जाएंगे, क्योंकि कुछ समझ में नहीं आएगा, आपके पास कोई पुराना नॉलेज है ही नहीं, है ना? नहीं। आप मैं ये डिस्कशन कर रहा हूं क्योंकि आपको साइकोलॉजी लर्निंग थ्योरी के बारे में कुछ आइडिया है, जो कह रहा हूं वो आप क्या करते हो, उसको प्रोसेसिंग करते हैं। यू रिलेट दिस लेसन्स टू योर प्रीवियस स्टॉक ऑफ नॉलेज, राइट? सो ये असिमिलेशन से अकोमोडेशन को आने के लिए जो प्रोसेस मदद करता है बीच में, उसको कहते हैं इक्विलिब्रेशन, राइट? आई थिंक वी हैव कवर्ड दिस 4 key concepts. Now we'll go to the stages of cognitive development. As you are watching on the slide, पहले आता है सेंसरी मोटर स्टेज, उसके बाद आता है क्या, जस्ट ए मिनट, प्री ऑपरेशनल स्टेज, देन आता है कंक्रीट ऑपरेशनल स्टेज और फॉर्मल ऑपरेशनल स्टेज। ये तो सिर्फ दिखाने के लिए पिक्चर लगा दिया, ऐसे कोई नहीं, ठीक है, चलते हैं। अच्छा, जस्ट ए मिनट। सेंसरी मोटर स्टेज, कॉग्निटिव डेवलपमेंट जो चारों स्टेज है, जो रफ्तार उसका सबसे ज्यादा रफ्तार इस उम्र में पकड़ता है, सेंसरी मोटर स्टेज। अच्छा, पहले से मैं बता देता हूं, पियाजे ये कंक्लूजन ड्रा कर लिया, हर बच्चा हर उम्र के साथ अपना दुनिया बसाता है, उनका एक अलग से दुनिया होता है। पूछेंगे तो क्यों ऐसा है, नहीं बता पाएंगे, लेकिन उनका दुनिया है। चलो वो आगे भी बताएंगे। ये सेंसरी मोटर स्टेज का क्या क्या सब स्टेज है, थोड़ा देख लेते हैं। चाइल्ड्स नॉलेज इज लिमिटेड टू सेंसरी परसेप्शंस, सिंपल मोटर एक्टिविटीज। जो उनका 5 सेंस ऑर्गन है, 5 सेंस ऑर्गन्स, वही उनको क्या करता है, उनका इंटेलेक्चुअल डेवलपमेंट करता है। सो चाइल्ड, इसका मतलब ये है, द चाइल्ड इंटरेक्ट्स विद द एनवायरनमेंट विद द हेल्प ऑफ द 5 सेंस ऑर्गन्स, और बहुत सारे ट्रायल एंड एरर करते हैं, राइट? व्हाट आर द सब स्टेजेस ऑफ द योर सेंसरी मोटर स्टेजेस? देयर आर 6 सेपरेट सब स्टेजेस। फर्स्ट वन इज रिफ्लेक्सेस, जैसे मैंने बताया, जो बस आंख बंद करके ऐसा अपना अंगूठी मुंह में डाल के, जैसे कि शक भी करता है, अपना अंगूठी पकड़ के, जैसे कि वो जैसे मिल्क बॉटल से दूध पीता है, ऐसा अपने आप शक करता शुरू करता है। ये पैदाइशी आदत है, इसको कहते हैं कि जेनेटिकली ट्रांसफर्ड बिहेवियर। ये हमारे साथ नहीं है, हर कोई जानवर के साथ और जितने भी क्रिएचर है सबके साथ होता है। लेकिन ये आप भी सवाल पूछ सकते हैं, अगर हमारे साथ ये रिफ्लेक्सेस के साथ हमने पैदा हुआ, आगे इतने बड़े इंटेलिजेंट बन गए, लेकिन जानवर क्यों नहीं बन पाए? इसका सवाल का आंसर भी मैं छोड़ता हूं आपके लिए, और कोऑर्डिनेटर लास्ट में मुझे चाहे तो पूछ ले, वो भी बता दूंगा। लेकिन क्या होता है कि ये देखिए, वो सेंसरी मोटर स्टेज में चाइल्ड इंटरेक्ट्स विद द एनवायरनमेंट विद द 5 सेंस ऑर्गन्स, राइट? एंड व्हाट आर द सब स्टेजेस? देयर आर 6 सब स्टेजेस। रिफ्लेक्सेस, दैट इज जन्म से 1 महीना तक चाइल्ड अंडरस्टैंड द एनवायरनमेंट प्योरली थ्रू इनबॉर्न रिफ्लेक्सेस सच एज सक्लिंग, ग्रास्पिंग, नी जर्किंग, और दीज आर रिएक्टिव फंक्शंस दैट infants essentially exit the womb with. इसका कहने का मतलब ये है कि ऑलरेडी twice I am here written genetic epistemology, इसीलिए कहते हैं कि ये जैसे बछड़ा पैदा होता ही उठना शुरू हो जाता है, और जैसे अंडे से चिक निकलता है वो इंसान की तरह दूध पीने के लिए अपना शख्स व्यवहार सुन नहीं करता है, वो वही व्यवहार करता है जो उनको दिया गया है, राइट। होमोजेनियसली दे बिहेव, राइट। So the second substage comes, that is primary circular reactions. Primary circular reactions 1 से 4 महीना तक उसमें क्या करता बच्चा, in the first few months of life, infants' behavior are focused almost exclusively on their own body. Infant also begin to refine their reflexes and combine them into more complex actions. क्या होता है, बच्चे जैसे क्या आता है उनका एट दैट टाइम दे आर एक्टिव विथ ओनली द सेंस ऑर्गन्स। माँ या भाई बहन कहीं भी अपने यहाँ हाथ लगाना शुरू कर देते, उनको खुशी लगता है, वो इधर दिखा देते हैं, राइट। फिर इधर लगा लो, इधर दिखा देते हैं। सो दिस इज नोन एज व्हाट, प्राइमरी सर्कुलर रिएक्शंस। सेकेंड, थर्ड वन, दैट इज सेकेंडरी सर्कुलर रिएक्शंस। वो शुरू होता है कितने महीने में, 4 से 8 महीने। The child becomes more focused on the world and begins to intentionally repeat an action in order to trigger a response in the environment. जैसे कि वो बिस्तर पे सोया है, आप एक खिलौना बांध दो, पहले वो हाथ लगाएगा, हाथ बढ़ाएगा, ऐसे ऐसे करेगा, राइट। जैसे उसको उससे आवाज निकलता है, क्योंकि पहले तो कुछ इंटेंशनल बिहेवियर नहीं था, है ना। अब क्या हुआ कि द चाइल्ड विल शो द इंटेंशनल बिहेवियर, उसको पकड़ने के लिए अपना हाथ बढ़ाएगा, राइट। सो द सेकेंडरी सर्कुलर रिएक्शंस कंटिन्यू टिल द मंथ ऑफ 8। देन कम्स जो एग्जांपल मैंने दिया यहाँ, ए चाइल्ड विल पर्पसफुली पिक अप ए टॉय इन ऑर्डर टू पुट इट इन हिज हर माउथ। अगर आप उनको बॉल दो या कोई खिलौना दो, कुछ दो, वो कोशिश करेगा उसको पकड़ना और मुंह में डालना, क्योंकि एट दैट टाइम हिज और आवर वर्ल्ड एग्जिस्ट ओनली विद द ओरल कैविटी, राइट। सब कुछ उसको दिखता है उनका ही मुंह, राइट। कोऑर्डिनेशन ऑफ रिएक्शंस, द fourth substages that comes, that is known as coordination of reactions. The child start to show clearly intentional actions, and the child may also combine schema in order to achieve a desired effect. After repeatedly observing that certain actions lead to certain consequences, infant gradually acquire the knowledge of cause-effect relationship, right? So another equation of this at this substage is object permanency, means knowing that an object still exists even if it is hidden. सबसे जो कोऑर्डिनेशन ऑफ रिएक्शन में क्या होता है कि धीरे धीरे खिलौना को मुंह से पकड़ने के बजाय उसको उसके साथ वो खिलता है, उसको कहते हैं कोऑर्डिनेशन ऑफ रिएक्शंस। और उसके साथ और एक डेवलप होता है ऑब्जेक्ट परमानेंसी। जैसे कि आपको क्या लग रहा है, बच्चे पहले रोते हैं, जैसे जाग जाते हैं रोना शुरू कर देते हैं। रोना इसलिए शुरू नहीं करते हैं कि माँ के पास जाना है और दूध पीना है, रोना इसलिए करते हैं कि सोचते हैं कि मदर और इस दुनिया में है ही नहीं, जो गया सो गया, वो आपसे नहीं आएगा, इसलिए वो रोना शुरू कर देते, राइट। इसको कहते हैं, लेकिन पहले से था। अब जो 8 से 12 महीने में वो फीलिंग धीरे धीरे एलिमिनेट हो जाता है, धीरे धीरे उनको लगता है कि जो नहीं है वो है, राइट। सो द आइडिया ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट परमानेंसी, क्योंकि मदर अगर बच्चा रोता है कहीं से भी आवाज दे देता, वो रोना बंद हो जाता, क्योंकि वो आवाज से वो पता कर लेता यहाँ नहीं है माँ, लेकिन है कहीं आसपास है, राइट। सो दैट्स व्हाई दैट नोन एज लिटिल complex behavior develops in coordination of reactions. Fifth one, tertiary circular reactions 12 से 18 महीना तक। Piaget believes this marks the developmental starting point of curiosity, interest in novelty, right. The sixth one, that is early representational thought. Piaget proposed that in the latter half of second year, young children develops a symbolic thought, experiment with objects in their mind. To some degree, mental predictions planning replaces over trial and error as growing, right. So these are substages, and the second stage that ranges from 3 to 7 years, that is known as pre-operational stage. And in fact, pre-operational stage is two types, that is pre-conceptual and intuitive, right? And pre-conceptual ranges from 3 to 4 years. उसमें क्या क्या होता है, आइडेंटिफाई ऑब्जेक्ट बाय नेम, उनको पता चल जाता है ये कुत्ता है, ये बिल्ली है, ये गाय है, भैंस है, राइट, उनको पता चल जाता है. कॉन्सेप्ट फॉर्मेशन इज डिफिकल्ट बट ऑल मेन, पापा ऑल फीमेल मामा, ये आ जाता है. जितने औरत देखेंगे सारे मामा है, जितने मर्द देखेंगे सारे पापा है, राइट. और जितने उनका साथ जो है, उस टाइम तो बच्चे इतना ही कहते हैं पापा मामा, राइट. नाइदर इंडक्टिव और नॉट डिडक्टिव, रेदर ट्रांस डिडक्टिव रीजनिंग. ये क्या है, मतलब 1 10 रुपी कॉइन इज लेस देन 10 1 रुपी कॉइन्स. उनको एक 10 रुपया का कॉइन दे दो और दूसरे हाथ में क्या दे दो, सिंगल कॉइन 10 रुपीज दे दो. वो कहेंगे जो सिंगल कॉइन 10 रुपीज, that is more than the single 1 rupee 10 coin. That's why that is neither comes under deductive or inductive, rather it is trans-deductive reasoning, right? Creative play and animism, है ना, कोई डॉल पकड़ा दो, हाथी, बाघ, डॉल, खिलौना, गुड़िया पकड़ा दो, वो कहेंगे कि ये मेरा, मतलब they will accept the tiger as if it is alive, right? इसको कहते हैं कि क्या, कि क्रिएटिव प्लेन एनिमिज्म, टू इमेजिनेटिव होते हैं उस टाइम. और इगोसेंट्रिज्म, कहेंगे कि मैं छत पे देखा हमारा चांद है, हमारा सूरज है, जैसे मैं मामा के घर जाता हूँ वो मेरे साथ जाता है, मैं आता हूँ वो मेरे साथ आता है, राइट. इसको कहते हैं. एंड डू नॉट एक्सेप्ट अदर्स लॉजिक. उस टाइम क्या होता है, और अगला क्या कह रहा है उसके ऊपर कोई ध्यान नहीं, वो सोचता है मैं जो कह रहा हूँ वो सही है, राइट. That is egocentrism. Or symbolic activity, the child can use symbols to transfer actions. A toy doll stands for a real baby, or child role plays a mummy, like this. Okay. Then intuitive, as I told you, that formation of various concepts. धीरे धीरे उसके साथ क्या होता है, concept formation होता है. ये किस उम्र से शुरू होता है, 5 से 7 साल तक. अच्छा, not fully logical thinking but through intuitively and absence of reversibility. जैसे कि सपोज ये हम ले लें कि एग्जांपल, मूविंग फ्रॉम ए बी इज नॉट सेम एज फ्रॉम बी टू ए, राइट. कॉटन एंड आयरन, अगर उनको कहें कि मेजरिंग यूनिट जो होता है आयरन में, और उसके साथ हम दे देंगे कि बोरी में कॉटन, वो कहेंगे कॉटन का अमाउंट ज्यादा है, ये आयरन वेट यूनिट है, राइट. और क्या नहीं होता है उसमें, कंजर्वेशंस, लिक्विड एंड वाटर बिलो फिगर. यू सी यहाँ क्या होता है कि दोनों ग्लास में क्या है, सेम वाटर है, लेकिन इस ग्लास से अगर एक थिन और टॉल ग्लास में पानी डाल देंगे, उनको लगेगा इस ग्लास में क्या है, ज्यादा पानी है इससे, राइट. दैट्स व्हाई लैक ऑफ पावर ऑफ कंजर्वेशंस. तो उसके बाद हम आते हैं क्या ना, कंक्रीट ऑपरेशनल. ये 8 से 11 साल तक है. चिल्ड्रन बिगिन टू थिंक लॉजिकली एंड ऑर्गेनाइज्ड अबाउट कंक्रीट इवेंट्स. क्या है, हर चीज को अगर उनको कहेंगे कुछ बाहर आपने क्या देखा है उसका एक लिस्ट तैयार करो, वो लिस्ट तैयार करेंगे और उनको कहेंगे कि इसको क्लासिफाई करो. उनको एनिमेट इनएनिमेट के हिसाब से क्लासिफाई भी करेंगे. अगर उनको पूछोगे कि उसको असेंडिंग या डिसेंडिंग ऑर्डर में सजाओ, वो भी सजा लेंगे. और उसके साथ क्या होता है, डिसेंटरिंग. किसी चीज के ऊपर क्या करेंगे कि वेयर द चाइल्ड टेक्स इनटू अकाउंट मल्टीपल एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ ए प्रॉब्लम टू सॉल्व, है ना. कोई चीज अगर प्रॉब्लम है तो जैसे कि इगोसेंट्रिज्म की तरह नहीं, वो हर पहलू उसको देखेंगे इसका सॉल्यूशन कैसे हो सकता है. और उसके साथ क्या होता है, ट्रांजिटिविटी डेवलप होता है उनमें. ट्रांजिटिविटी का ये होता है कि रिवर्सिबिलिटी, द एबिलिटी टू रिकॉग्नाइज लॉजिकल रिलेशंस अमंग एलिमेंट्स इन ए सीरियल ऑर्डर. इफ A is taller than B and B is taller than C, then A must be taller than that is C, right? इसको कहते हैं transitivity. So they begin to understand the concept of conservations, that the amount of liquid in a short and wide cup is equal to that in a tall and skinny glass, जैसे कि pictures में दिखाया गया. Children begin using inductive logics, right, from simple to complex, या specific to general, or reasoning from specific information to general, that is known as deductive. अच्छा, elimination egocentrism. अब बच्चे क्या होते हैं कि they accept the others view, what others are saying about a particular things they accept. Remove their egocentrism. Always I am right, what I am saying you accept. So gradually it eliminates. So these are the few characteristics, as I told you: classification, seriation, centering, transitivity, and conservation, and elimination of egocentrism, and develops the inductive reasoning, that is from specific situation to specific case to general case, right? The last आता है क्या, 12 से 15 साल तक, जिसको कहते हैं formal operational. At this stage, the adolescents or young adult begins to think abstractly. They will focus on abstract things, right? Even the absence of the objects, they can mentally construct and they can think on it, and they can reason out about the hypothetical problems. They can solve problems mathematically, and they are at the time they are writing many short story, prose, poem, right? It is because of what? They are abstract thinkings. And teens begin to think more about moral, philosophical. They become more heroic and ethical, social, and political issues that require theoretical and abstract reasoning, right? They are discussing on many social issues, and they can give their own judgments, right? So what should be acceptable, what should not be acceptable, and the power of independent judgments that develops in the formal operational stage, and begin to use the deductive logic, reasoning from general principle to specific informations, right? So now the most important things that we will discuss about, we will deliberate on Piaget. If we will not focus on what its educational implications, that is very important, right? So far we have discussed about 4 stages of the cognitive development, and before that we have focused on 4 key concepts, that is schema, assimilation, accommodation, and equilibrations. Then the 4 stages of cognitive development. So if you see that now you see we will come to the practical sides, how the Piaget's cognitive development theory help to the teaching learning community, say for your teachers, policymaker, your parents, and mentors, how it helps. You know that entire school curriculum of school children, particularly at elementary and secondary level, it is organized in the developmental principles of Piaget, right? You know that we are, say for take the example of mathematics, yeah, history, yeah, social science, yeah, science, they are learning the same concepts, say for example additions, but in each subsequent class, they are learning about addition more and more. एक क्लास में addition, 2 क्लास में addition, 3 क्लास में additions, but as they passes from one class to another class, they are learning more and more about additions, right? The simple 1-digit addition, 2-digit addition, 3-digit addition, and then carry over addition, so many complex. That's why you see Piaget's theories are embedded into the school system in the sense that curriculum is based on his stages of theory. And you see, जब हम कहते हैं curriculum में क्या क्या आता है, किताब आता है, co-curricular एक्टिविटी जाता है, और स्कूल में टीचर्स कैसे क्या क्या मटेरियल साथ में लेंगे, क्या क्या मेथड यूज करके बच्चों को पढ़ाएंगे, यही सारा आता है क्या कि एजुकेशन में आता है। तो करिकुलम का जो हम कहते हैं कि किताब और को करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज या जो पाठ्यपुस्तक और को करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज जो सारे नाच गाना जो भी होता है, ऑल आर ऑर्गेनाइज्ड बाय टेकिंग द व्हाट the hypothesis, the developmental principles of Piaget, he has contributed to the world. In the same way, it has been organized, right? In a concentric approach. जैसे जैसे बच्चे एक क्लास से दूसरे क्लास जाते हैं, धीरे धीरे कंटेंट लोड बढ़ता है और टीचर्स भी मेथड ऐसे इस्तेमाल करते हैं कि छोटे बच्चों जैसे समझ पाएंगे उनके लिए सिंपल मेथड एंड ग्रेजुअली दे आर एडिंग कॉम्प्लेक्स मेथड टू डेवलप to encounter them the problematic situations so that they will construct, they will articulate, they will create, right, they will think. So the curriculum is designed to teach students at first the stage and progressively teach new learning to change the schema in order to move students through each stages. The teacher starts at the basic, introducing a new subject. Once the knowledge of the subject is mastered, they would create a schema, right? चलो, हाँ, धीरे धीरे क्या होता है, एम्फासिस ऑन डिस्कवरी अप्रोच इन लर्निंग, जैसे प्रैक्टिकल्स होता है, उनको कहते हैं डिस्कवरी अप्रोच, और उनको एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग के लिए उनको मौका देते हैं, उनको लैब में लेते हैं, ask them to do the experiment, yeah, whatever they are learning in the school, we ask them go and experiment at home. So they not that only the teachers are teaching, they are learning. The school curriculum will be organized in such a manner that the whatever they are learning inside the schools, they can leak it outside the schools and they can experiment, right? And curriculum should provide specific educational experience based on the children's developmental level and arrange classroom activities so that they assist and encourage self learning. क्योंकि ऐसा नहीं कि they will look always to the teachers or mentors to gain the knowledge. Let the curriculum should be organized in such a manner that it will encourage the learners for self learning. They will take the responsibility of learning on their own shoulders, right? How it will be possible? Only when the content is arranged in a logically and in a sequentially, so that from simple to complex they can move. Otherwise, if you put complex content first, then simple and later on, they cannot follow. That's why it says that arrange classroom activities so that they assist and encourage self-learning. That means they will gradually proceed. As already Piaget said that cognitive development doesn't occur overnight. It is gradual and sequential, right? So in that way, if the school curriculum will be organized, it will facilitate for self-learning, right? And social interactions have a great educational value for Piaget, and positive social actions therefore should be encouraged, right? Piaget acknowledged that pure interactions, right, is essential for cognitive developments, because as much as exposure you will give to the child, they will accumulate more and more knowledge. So at घर में, कम्युनिटी में, सोसाइटी में, हाँ, अच्छा पीयर ग्रुप के साथ अच्छा इंटरेक्शन होता है कि स्कूल में आप हम डिबेट कंपटीशन कराते हैं, ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग कराते हैं, उससे बच्चों को क्या होता है, और प्ले, जैसे ये बढ़िया मैदान में खेलते हैं तो उनके साथ उनका एक ट्यूनिंग जम जाता है और सोशल ग्रुप फॉर्मेशन होता है, राइट? They started showing the empathy as well as sympathy to their peers, right? Instruction should be geared to the level of the child. Very important. And as the level of the child changes at each stage, the level of instruction or exploratory activities should also change. And this is a very, very important implications for the teachers, because a teacher knows many things, right? It is the responsibility of the teachers that he or she should come to the level of the learners, right? So the teachers will adjust the communication strategy, जैसे कि किताब में पढ़ना है, और कोई कंटेंट को कम्युनिकेट कराना है कि टीचर्स को पहले ये जज करना है बच्चे किस उम्र के हैं, उनका बैकग्राउंड क्या है। मान लीजिए ये है कि आप वाटर पढ़ा रहे हैं क्लास में, अगर कुछ बच्चे ऐसे हैं जिनको बिल्कुल योर कंट्री साइड इज नॉट अवेलेबल, या कभी गांव या रूरल एरिया में गए नहीं, सारा जिंदगी गुजारा, पले बड़े हैं कहाँ, टाउन एरिया में, उनको कहेंगे कि वाटर का सोर्स क्या है, वो कहेंगे वाटर का सोर्स टूटी है, पानी टूटी से पानी निकलता है। लेकिन जो गांव के बच्चे आते हैं वो कहते क्या, अरे पानी, नाला, नहर, समुद्र बहुत कुछ है, सोर्स ऑफ वाटर, राइट। बट टीचर शुड नॉट be what negative feedback to those who says that source of water is tutti. Let us teachers should accommodate all types of diversities and exploit them accordingly, adjust the teaching methods so they will learn about the concept of water and what are the sources of water, right? So positive social actions there should be encouraged. And simple to complex, very important. टीचर्स का सबसे बड़ा काम है कि हमेशा वो सिंपल से कॉम्प्लेक्स उनका जो टीचिंग या कम्युनिकेशन ट्रैक होगा, ऑलवेज द टीचर शुड स्टार्ट what the learners already know. From there he or she should start the journey of instructions, right? So that's why it says that simple to complex. And co-curricular activities have equal importance as that of curricular experiences in the cognitive development of the children. ऐसा नहीं कि प्याजे सिर्फ प्रॉब्लम, मैथ, साइंस, रीजनिंग एबिलिटी, न्यूमेरिक एबिलिटी किताब पढ़ने के लिए बताया था. ऑल्सो इन हिज स्टेजेस ऑफ डेवलपमेंट he has already stressed that there is a requirement of what co-curricular activities equally because it also contributes for development of the cognition of the children. And major goals of education according to Piaget are what? To develop critical and creative thinking in some unusual way, right? Thinking some to do something in an innovative way. That was the ultimate purpose of teaching learning process. And how now, if you say this is all about the contribution of Piaget to the field of what? Educations, particularly it helps the policymakers, teachers. Now how it helps to the in a more macro manner to the society as a whole, right? Piaget theory help educators, parents, investigators to comprehend the capacity of children in their different stages, right? And he made us conscious with the way children and adults think, right? A lot of school programs have been redesigned taking as base Piaget's discovery. Piaget made a revolution with developmental psychology and concentrating all his attention to the mental processes and his role with the behavior. Let us now draw the conclusions that Piaget, before Piaget, the works of Piaget, parents were not what as much as democratic to their kids, right? And it was the work of Piaget given hints and cues to the parents. Let us, they should not stop the different types of works of the children at home. they वो कुछ इधर उधर करते हैं, माँ बाप को लगता है बेकार काम कर रहा है, बंद करो इसको, ये टाइम वेस्ट हो रहा है. लेकिन डोंट डू दैट लाइक, बिकॉज हर, जैसे मैंने कहा कि प्याजे ने कहा, हर उम्र के साथ हर बच्चे अपना दुनिया बसाते हैं और वो दे आर क्रिएटिंग देयर ओन वर्ल्ड, राइट? सो वट एवर द एक्टिविटीज दे आर डूइंग, always they are constructing some ideas, they are creating some artifacts, right? They develop their language power by communicating. Suppose कोई गुड़िया के साथ खेल रहे हैं, कोई उनके साथ बातें करने के लिए है नहीं, वो अपने आप उनसे बात करता रहता है, उससे क्या होता है, उसका लैंग्वेज डेवलपमेंट होता है ना? तो इसीलिए कहते हैं नॉन ऑफ द वर्क ऑफ द चाइल्ड इज रफ, लेट it is rough for you, let us, it is very मीनिंगफुल and sensitive to the children, right? So I think we have covered whatever the assignment given to me.
So thank
Yes,
you for
yes, I will
delivering
see.
the thank you for delivering the excellent enriching lecture. I am pretty sure that this your valuable and enriching talk definitely help our students to get a wholesome idea about Piaget's cognitive development, that how this cognitive structure works, how all the concepts like assimilation, accommodation, equilibrium, and schema, how these things are work, and what are the characteristics in each stages of cognitive development, starting from sensory motor to formal operational stage. Sir, the first question asked by our student is, can you just tell again that how this equilibration is works? What is the meaning of equilibration? Sir, sir, one by
Okay,
one, I
okay.
should take question, or you need to, I will
Yeah, yeah.
proceed all the question, or you need.
No, no, one by one we will go.
Yeah, that would be great, sir.
Equilibration
So
is a
just
balance. Yeah, equilibration is a balance. क्या होता है, जैसे मैंने एग्जांपल दिया कि उनके साथ पहले बच्चे जो अपना बेसिक स्कीमा के साथ मूव करता किस तरह, पहले he or she wants to mold the environment to fit his own बेसिक स्कीमा जो पहले से था, इसको कहते हैं प्री एग्जिस्टिंग स्कीमा। जैसे मान लीजिए मम्मी ने बता दिया ये क्या है, ये कुत्ता है, जैसे क्योंकि जैसे मम्मी ने बता दिया कुत्ता है कि उनका ये स्कीमा डेवलप हो गया, कुत्ता किस लिए है ना, उनका 4 पैर है। अच्छा, जब उनको कोई गाय और भैंस मिल जाता है या कैट कुछ भी, वो पहले कंक्लूजन क्या करता है, पकड़ता है कि ये भी कुत्ता है, क्योंकि उनका 4 ही पैर है। जैसे वो बड़ा होता है, उनका कॉग्निटिव डेवलपमेंट होता है, ही कैन और सी कैन differentiate. Now it changes the previous cognitive structure. This is not dog, this is cow. This is what? This is or have to change the pre-existing schema to form a new schema that is known as what? Accommodations, right? But the process in between, that from assimilation to accommodations, which works in between. और दूसरा एग्जाम्पल ले लेते हैं कि जैसे उनका आदत है हर चीज उनके हाथ में देंगे वो मुंह में डालेंगे, जो भी दे दो, खिलौना दे दो पास में, क्योंकि उनके साथ वही एक ही स्कीमा है अभी, राइट। जैसे कि कोई बॉल पकड़ा दिया, उसको क्या करेंगे, वो मुंह में पकड़ने के लिए कोशिश करेगा, जैसे वो मुंह में पकड़ने के लिए कोशिश करेगा वो ओरल कैविटी में फिट नहीं होगा, जैसे फिट नहीं होगा वो क्या करेगा, रोना शुरू कर देगा। When they started crying, but gradually in the process of crying they will learn the behavior. Instead of crying, I should change my behavior. पहले बाहर से जो आता था उसको मोल्ड करता था, वो जो चीज उनके हाथ में देते थे वो ओरल कैविटी में डालता था, लेकिन अब वो क्या करेगा, इंस्टेड ऑफ putting these objects in the oral cavity, he or she will try to what? Hold. क्योंकि पहले तो कोशिश करेगा मुंह में डालने के लिए, लेकिन जैसे वो फिट नहीं होगा वो रोना शुरू कर देगा। This taught him let us instead of crying you are the objects. इसको कहते हैं कि मेंटल बैलेंस, पहले डिसइक्विलिब्रियम स्टार्ट होता है, उसके बाद इक्विलिब्रियम स्टार्ट होता है।
Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I hope it's clear to our participants. The second question is cognitive development process is a lifelong process, or it is a time bound manner or specific stage specific, or it's a lifelong process? So basically the question is, it is a lifelong process and continuous process or not?
Cognitive development is a lifelong continuous process. It starts from mother's womb till our death. Every time we are constructing schema, new schema, है ना, ये बंद नहीं होता है, लेकिन एनिमल के साथ ये नहीं होता है ना। It do not happens with the animals. मैंने एक at the time of explanation I have already told you that not the only human beings, all animals born with some basic schema, and but how we become intelligent, they could not become intelligent. ये सवाल मैंने छोड़ा था किसके लिए, कोऑर्डिनेटर के लिए, कि कहा था कि वो मुझे पूछ लेना, क्योंकि जो स्कीमा के साथ हम पैदा होते हैं ये धीरे धीरे बदलता रहता है, मॉडिफाइड होता है, सोफिस्टिकेटेड होता है, कॉम्प्लिकेटेड होता है, तब तक मतलब जब तक हम जीवित हैं। लेकिन एनिमल के साथ ये होता नहीं, वो जो स्कीमा के साथ पैदा होते हैं वही स्कीमा उनको सारा जीवन तक कंट्रोल करता रहता है, राइट। सो द कॉग्निटिव डेवलपमेंट प्रोसेस इज continuous process, right? You do not stop till death.
Thank you, sir, for I hope the participant able to get the idea that whether the cognitive development process is a continuous process or it is only stage specific and at certain age. Sir, it's a great opportunity that our principal sir is with us. He is joining and enjoying the session from the beginning, and now I welcome sir to ask if he has any doubt. He wished to ask few things to the speaker. So sir, please proceed.
Sanjay ji, first I'd like to congratulate for giving this vibrant topic, information to our all listeners. I have only one basic things. Actually, my discipline is a computer science. I'm a man of that. We are doing a lot of activity related to the artificial intelligence and other things. So a lot of activity and everybody is moving towards cognitive science. Too much. Maybe you are fully aware at the moment. The IITs and all, they have started planning new courses related to that. So how do you think that the future is going to be whether relevant to moving nowadays? IoT, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, even data analytics and on. So how this cognitive learning will play an important role to do something more active towards society and all. That is my basic thing like that would like to because definitely one more thing, because even in the field of education, it is playing a very, very important role. Because to understand the student, to understand the psychology, so many things. So this learning is going to play an important role. So what you are going to say about this? That is my basic question.
Okay, thank you. With my limited experience, I can say one thing, that in fact artificial intelligence is created by human being. You know that when we are doing calculations by manually, we use our hands and manually we are doing calculations. If the same calculation will be facilitated by artificial intelligence, earlier if I remember in my days while doing my PhD work and dissertation work, I used to do the statistical calculation manually, and I spent more than 2 months in calculation of these statistical calculations. But now you know that SPSS and Bhasar Stats are and many other softwares are available, and which can calculate the statistics very easily. So when artificial intelligence will do the work of man can spare the valuable time in creating other things. So no doubt man is the main creator of the artificial intelligence, but this augmented intelligence will facilitate the work of human being, and when we will spare the same amount of time for other works, we can create many other things. So this is a very helping hand to the for future developments. I think so. I do not know to what extent I can satisfy you or not. This is the things. So yeah.
Thank you very much. We can understand from an educationist that is the answer which you are expecting. It's okay. Thank you once again. Please, Ranjan ji, continue.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Sir, the another questions from participant side that does our reasoning ability develop through our experience?
Reasoning ability develops through our experience. This is the question.
Yes,
absolutely. Absolutely. Our reasoning become more and more complex as and when we will get more exposure to the experience. When we say the experience, that when we interact with the teaching learning material, when we interact with our peers, when we interact with our parents, when we interact with many non-formal setups, we are getting lots of experience, and that experience makes our intelligence more finer and finer. We attain more perfection. So as it is a unending process, our reasoning become more finer, more sophisticated, more comprehensive when we will get more and more exposures, right? So experience is one of the important components of cognitive development, as Piaget said. That's why he said that you should give scope and exposure for curricular activities like, right? So it will develop their reasoning ability. Yeah.
Sir, another question. So when you are talking about concrete operational stage, so you talked about seriation. So can you just repeat that what is seriation, because one of the participant is asking, he is unable to comprehend the idea.
Yeah. Serially in the sense that in ascending or descending order, right? In ascending or descending order. अगर उनको पूछोगे तो इसको ascending से करो, वो ascending से करेंगे. उनको कहोगे descending से करो, वो descending में करेंगे. Because at that time they have already developed the ability of classification and ordering. Seriation का मतलब है कि छोटा से बड़ा क्रम से सजाएंगे या बड़ा से छोटा क्रम से सजाएंगे. 1 किसको देंगे, 2 किसको देंगे, नहीं. मान लो 4 या 5 डिजिट दे देंगे, उनको पूछोगे कि इनको असेंडिंग में सजा दो या इनको डिसेंडिंग में सजा दो. एट दैट टाइम दे हैव द एबिलिटी, as you will give them problems, either you will ask them ascending, they will do it. If you will ask them do it descending, they will do it. This is the seriation classifications, right?
Thank you, sir. Sir, one more questions. Probably I will not take much questions. So the question is like, sir, we talked about the cognitive structure, starting from schema to assimilation, accommodation, equilibration. So does this cognitive structure helps in getting a clear picture of the environment? We are surrounded by the environment, and this whole cognitive structure is helping in understanding of the environment and getting a clear picture.
Answer is yes. As I told you that हर उम्र के साथ हर बच्चा, students, learners, they create their own world, है ना. सवाल ये है कि just repeat थोड़ा सवाल को थोड़ा repeat कर दीजिए.
So the question is like this cognitive structure, we have understood the cognitive structure as suggested by Piaget. So these cognitive structure helping in understanding the environment surrounded by us, or it's not?
या दो चीज मैंने बताया था. एक तो बताया था हर उम्र के साथ हर बच्चा अपना दुनिया बसाता है ना. और प्री ऑपरेशनल स्टेज में 2 ही बताया था. एक इंट्यूटिव जो 3 से 7 साल तक होता है कि अपना एक दुनिया होता है, और उस दुनिया में अगर आप सवाल पूछोगे कि व्हाट इज द प्रिंसिपल ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ व्हिच यू हैव परसीविंग दिस टाइप ऑफ वर्ल्ड. जैसे बच्चे कहते हैं मैं मामा के घर जाता हूँ, मेरे साथ हमारा चंदा मेरे साथ ही जाता है, मैं वापसी आता हूँ, वो आता है, राइट. It is because of their exposure and their own world they have created with every age, right? As they become older and older, every time their world modifies, right? जो पहले से वर्ल्ड परसीव किया था वो धीरे धीरे जैसे उनका रीजनिंग एबिलिटी डेवलप होगा. पहले कहते थे मैं मामा के घर जाता है, चांदा मेरे साथ जाता है. अब अगले साल या 2-3 साल के बाद जैसे उनका कॉम्पिटेंसी रीजनिंग एबिलिटी डेवलप होता है, वो कहता नहीं मून इज सिंगल, नेवर इट्स फॉलो मी. नाउ देयर वर्ल्ड विल चेंज. एवरी उम्र के साथ अपना दुनिया बदलता रहता है, राइट.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir, one last question from my side only. This question, I personally need to understand this thing that when you are talking about Piaget theory of cognitive development, starting from, he suggested the, cognitive stages of development starting from sensory motor to formal operational stage. And his theory also criticized for this thing that he make a watertight compartmental for every stage. Like you said कि वो हर बच्चा उस उम्र में अपना एक दुनिया बना लेता है. प्री ऑपरेशनल में एक दुनिया बना लेता है, फॉर्मल ऑपरेशनल में एक दुनिया बना लेता है. तो एज ए रीडर when we are reading Piaget theory, we are understanding the concept this way. And then again, when we are going to another theory of cognitive development, or when we are going to Vygotsky theory of constructivism, and he talks about differently. He and we right now also discuss this cognitive process is a lifelong process, starts from mother home and in the graveyard or in the tomb. So as a reader, when we are reading this thing, for example, I am in a UG stage or PG stage, when I am reading Piaget theory, I am learning that after certain age in adulthood, my development process stops, because Piaget categorically suggested these are the things will develop in this age, this age, this age. And when I am again skipping to the next stage of Vygotsky theory, I am learning, no, because Vygotsky categorically criticized Piaget's theory and suggested several other things. No, the environment is important, the culture is important, the language is important. So, so the point is, ki, as a reader, how you conceptualize? Yeah.
I got your queries. The work of Piaget is not free from criticism. Many cognitivists also claim that children attend the what the Piaget said before the ages. For the Piaget has categorized in all these stages, but what they found that many children attend that stage before they are specified age by the Piaget, and they also demanded for another stage, that is post concrete operational stage, right? But at the same time, if you see all these cognitive learning theory, you take the example of Bloom, you take the example of Brunner, you take the example of Asubel, you take the example of Gane, you take the example of Maslow. Yeah, all these cognitive theorists focused only on the learning. None of them has focused on the stages of development. And Piaget is, that's why Piaget is single most influential and a comprehensive cognitive theorist, because not only he covered the stages of development, and as well as also given the clues and implications for how to organize these teaching learning environments, right? But your questions, you see that as it is very difficult to say, because reality is something which these theorists, researchers and academicians, experts, what judge from different angles. Somebody says like this, somebody says like this. In fact, the parallel study like Piaget, none of the parallel study conducted across the globe so far, because all these, as I told you, focused only on the learning. When the parallel study will be conducted, and there will be a question of acceptability and rejectability. But so far many applied research has been conducted, and most of the applied research findings are what they are very findings is similar and confirms most of the the stage specific development of the Piaget. That's why no doubt in future what will happen we do not know, but so far another parallel theory of cognitive development like Piaget has not available. So we can say there may be some students may attain these ability, reasoning ability, these cognitive abilities before they are specified age, but it also at the same time some students are also not attaining as the age specified. So there is further debate and discussion, more research is required, and I acknowledge your concern. But you see, is there any theory like Piaget? If you see the Bloom has classified the taxonomy of learning under 6 categories. Earlier it was 6 categories in noun form. Now it is remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, and evaluating and creating. You see, right? And use meaningful learning theory, yeah, as well as advanced organizer. Nobody has stressed on the what is the nature and the process of the biological development, and as well as the intellectual developments. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. It was really a valuating talk. So now we are at the stage of ending this event. So we are really thankful to Dr. Sarat Rao sir for joining with us. Though he could not be physically with us, but we did take the benefit of technology, which helped us to connect with him. I'm sure his valuable ideas must have broadened the perspective of all of us who that we are listening. And I am happy to say to the resource person that, sir, your this talk is also recorded by our SOL team, so it will be available for student also. So currently thousands of students are watching you live, but those who left out, so they can also access to your lecture in later period. Thank you, sir. That was surely a valuating talk.
Thanks a lot for giving me an
Uh,
opportunity. A special thank to you and your principal sir, and wish you the success in future. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I would also like to thank all the participants who became a part of today's dialogue. Last but not the least, I would also like to thank the technical team for their unbounded support and making this event successful. Thank you, everyone. Looking forward to see such collaboration with you, sir, in near future. Thank you, sir, for joining with us.